Hello friends, hope you are doing good. Today we'll be discussing about test number 9, that is about geography and current affairs. See, before getting into this subject on discussion, in general, if I talk about preliminary examination, always I insist on this point. Only knowledge may not help you out in qualifying this examination. Apart from knowledge, what is equally important for qualifying this examination, we call them as techniques. Technique is that thing which will almost enhance your knowledge into success. Every subject has a thread in it, and similarly when I talk about geography, geography has its own thread. If you understand the thread of geography, implementation of techniques in the questions that is related to geography becomes very simple. Now, what is the thread in this subject in geography? You will understand first. First and foremost, make it very simple. This subject, geography itself, is a relative subject. Geography will not exist without exception. That's the reason we say geography is normally driven by exceptions. It means very normally absolute statements may not exist in geography. So whenever in examination you come across absolute statement, most of the time, right, you consider that this statement will not be right. Again, I am telling you, most of the time. Treating absolute sentence to be completely wrong itself is not absolute. Still, this technique will almost help you out in arriving at a right answer. Not only that, apart from very carefully searching for absolute statement in your question paper, also almost take extra effort in locating those operative words, qualifying words, and very important words like connecting words like and, or, etc. These are the one which is going to make the difference in converting your knowledge into marks. And whenever you come across a statement which is more debatable in nature, right, always you consider if a concept is positive, result will be positive. If a concept is negative, the statement given, if you have a negative statement, you consider that it is almost right. So always treat it, any positive concept, always the result will be positive, and any negative statement or any negative concept, the result will also be negative. Right. These are some things what you have to keep it in mind before solving those questions in geography. Right. With all that in mind, what we'll do, we'll just get into this discussion. And while almost going for a discussion, there we'll see that how these techniques can be implemented in reality. Welcome friends. Let us venture into this discussion path as such. Right. So going by question, the very first question, it says, consider the following statement about Big Bang theory. Now when I talk about consider the following question statement about Big Bang theory, the statement 1 says, a singular atom containing all matters forming the universe exploded violently, leading to a huge expansion. So when I talk about Big Bang theory, understanding says, today I have very large size universe, but belief says that this universe started from an atom sized particle, very small particle. It exploded so violently, right? Still it is expanding, but only thing is that the rate of expansion has almost decreased. Right, slowly, steadily, I have expanding universe as such. But understanding says, right, according to this Big Bang theory, today's universe started with a single atom. It means the statement 1 is perfectly right. Coming to the statement 2, the rate of expansion of the universe has been increasing since the Big Bang. This statement is wrong. Let me tell you why. Because when I talk about increasing, yes, universe is increasing, no denial about it. But keep it in mind, the rate of increase is actually decreasing. Right. Initially, the rate of increase was so violent, it was increasing at a rapid rate, but today it means the rate of increase has decreased. Or put it this way, universe is expanding, but the rate of expansion is decreasing. It means statement 1 is right, statement 2 is wrong. Right. The answer for this question, select the correct answer, the statement is 1 only. Right, sir. Now moving to the second question. Now moving to the second question. Consider the following statements. Earth's crust is moving faster now than in the past. And absolutely this statement is wrong, because what I understand, as the time ventures, the matter of state, or I would say it means asthenosphere, which is almost over what the lithosphere is floating. Slowly, steadily, when I talk about the nature of this matter, it means at the initial stage it was more in liquid form. Slowly, steadily, it is getting more of solidified in nature. If that is the case, understanding says earlier phase of movement of Earth, the Earth was moving, the lithosphere or the Earth's crust was moving at a faster rate, and now this rate has slowed down. It means this statement is completely wrong. Right, sir. Number 2, exogenic forces are responsible for both degradation and aggradation. Now, what is this degradation? One example of degradation, if I take it, I consider this is erosion. If I talk about aggradation, it is all about deposition. Right? If that is the case, I understand, be it erosion or deposition, both are resulted by exogenic force. If that is the case, statement 1 is wrong, statement 2 is right. Select the correct answer. If that is the case, answer will be B only, sir. That is statement 2. Now going to the third question. Consider the following statement. During both spring equinox and autumn equinox, the angle of inclination of sun's rays at equator is 90 degree. Perfectly right. Because when I talk about equinox as a situation or equinox as a condition, the sun's vertical rays falls at equator. It means vertical rays itself means 90 degree. Perfectly, this statement is right. Coming to the second statement. During both the spring equinox and autumn equinox, the duration of the sunlight is equal at both equator at poles. See, when we use this word called as equinox, equinox itself means equal length of day and night. Entire Earth during this day, on this day, experience 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of night. If that is the case, whether you are there at equator or at poles, you will have 12 hours of sunlight and 12 hours of darkness. Right? It means statement 2 is also right. So answer for this question will be C. That is both 1 and 2. Coming to question number 4. With reference to peninsular India, which of the following statement is correct? So normally the southern part of India, we refer it as peninsular India. What is this peninsular? Any land that is 3 sides surrounded by water, you call them as a peninsular in general. Right, sir. Now coming to the southern part of India, only thing is that we have to understand that which of the following statements are correct. Right. So one statement says it is in tropical zone. Obviously yes. Now what is this tropical zone? Any region that lies between tropics. What is this tropics? Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. You call them as a tropical region. Obviously yes. So majority of this landmass lies south of Tropic of Cancer. Right, sir. Now coming to statement 2. It has a high range of annual and daily and annual temperature. This statement is wrong, because whenever I say peninsular is that region which is surrounded by water on 3 sides. It means this land will have more influence of water. And water has a character. What is the character of water? Water maintains temperature. Fluctuation of temperature in water will be very minimal. But here they say range. Range means the variation in the temperature will be very high. Be it the daily range, what we call them as a diurnal range, or you call them as a annual range. According to the statement, they say it is both or high. No, it is not the case. We understand it should be the other way around. Both should be less. If that is the case, statement 2 is wrong. Right, sir. Now coming to the third statement, it says maritime influence on this part is very, very low. Again, it is wrong, because I understand maritime influence is more. What is this maritime influence? Influence of ocean or sea on the land area. You call them as maritime influence. So what should be the answer for this? It is only B. B is the answer, or only 1 is the answer. Coming to question number 5, sir. Which of the following rivers flow or flows only through the state of Jammu and Kashmir? Indus for sure, I know. Right, Indus flows only through that of Jammu and Kashmir, no other state it enters. Not only Indus, even when I talk about a river like Jhelum, Jhelum also enters only, or it flows only via Jammu and Kashmir in India. Right, sir. And when I talk about Ravi, Ravi also flows through Punjab. It means Ravi you removed, Indus and Jhelum you keep it. If that is the case, answer for this question should be B. That is 1 and 2. Coming to question number 6. Which of the following factors affects the temperature of ocean? Right, sir. Only thing is that when I talk about ocean currents, yes, obviously speaking, ocean current influence the temperature of the ocean. Reason, I have warm currents, I have cold current. Wherever I have the influence of warm current, temperature will be increased. Wherever I have the influence of cold current, temperature will be decreased. Latitude, without any denial, lower latitudes, warmer condition, higher latitudes, right, colder condition. It means latitude also plays a very important role. Offshore and onshore wind, right, sir, certainly speaking. Offshore and onshore wind will also have a very important role. Two ways, different ways I can talk about this offshore. See, what is this offshore wind? Any wind which flows off the coast, you call them as an offshore wind, right? It means, put it very simple, a kind of a land breeze. Land breeze, you call them as an offshore wind, right? Sea breeze, from the sea, if it flows to the land, you call them as an onshore wind, right, sir? So, offshore and onshore wind will also affect the ocean water temperature in different fashion. For example, when I talk about offshore wind, this offshore wind normally what happens, it removes the surface water in the ocean. If the surface water is removed, what happens? Cold water will be almost resulting, or cold water will be coming to the surface of the ocean by the process what we call them as upwelling, right? If that is the case, again, this, when I talk about offshore wind can reduce the ocean temperature sometimes, right, sir? Whatever may be the case, it affects drastically. And finally, when I talk about ocean floor relief, what is this ocean floor relief? Bottom of the ocean, whatever the features I have in the ocean floor, right? It can be abyssal plains, it can be continental shelf, it can be continental slope, it can be ridge. They don't have that much influence on almost determining the ocean water temperature. And one more thing, when I talk about this ocean water temperature, unless and until it is asked about a particular depth, ocean water temperature simply means the surface temperature of the ocean. So, we are concerned only about the surface temperature of the ocean. This is what the default meaning says. It means answer to this question will be 1, 2 and 3, that is B. Going to question number 7. Consider the following statements. Deserts of Rajasthan are part of peninsular block. This is question number, means statement 1. See, when I talk about peninsular part, sometimes you can also include the deserts of Rajasthan, because I understand Rajasthan deserts is also located very close to this Arabian Sea margin, right? So, generally whenever I talk about, it means all those features which lies south of this Delhi ridge, right? Normally we consider that this belongs to the peninsular block, right? So, it means desert of Rajasthan can also be included, and we can consider that it is very much part of this peninsular block. The general elevation of the plateau, they say it is from east to west, right, sir? Whenever I talk about elevation, they say height of plateau, particularly peninsular plateau, they say east is more elevated and west is less elevated. But what is the actual information we have? It should be the other way around. When I talk about elevation, elevation is rather from west to east. West is more elevated in the peninsular plateau block. East we have slightly, it is tapering. That is the reason whenever I talk about east flowing rivers, most of the east flowing rivers, they almost start their origin from western slopes or western coast, and they flow towards the Bay of Bengal, right, sir? When I talk about east flowing rivers, the long profile of the river or the length of the river is very large, suggesting that gradation or the slope itself extends from west to east. It means statement 2 is wrong. It should be west to east, right, sir? Coming to the statement 3, when I talk about statement 3, the relief feature of plateau contribute majorly to its vegetative diversity. Obviously, yes. Because when I talk about Western Ghats plays a very important role in acting as a orographic barrier. So, when I talk about the windward side of Western Ghats, I understand it is resulting in par moist climatic condition. Leeward side, we experience semi-arid type of a condition. It means relief results in climate, and climate results in determining the vegetative density in general or vegetative diversity in general. It means statement 3 is also obviously right. So, answer to this question should be 1 and 3, that is A. Question number 8. Consider the following statement about the evolution of lithosphere, how lithosphere would have evolved. So statement 1 says from the crust to the core, density of the material decreases. Completely wrong, because I understand it should be increasing. Why? Crust is the lightest layer and core should be the heaviest layer. Density should increase. Right, sir. So coming to the statement 2, the process of differentiation. What is this differentiation? Differentiation is nothing but sorting. So process of differentiation led to the formation of layers of the air. Layers of the earth. Right. Obviously, this statement is right, because what made core to be high in density is very simple: sorting, differentiation. All heavy elements started descending with the effect of gravity and settled at core. All light element moved towards the surface of the earth and formed the today's crust or lithosphere. Right, sir. If that is the case, statement 2 is absolutely right. Which of the following statement is or correct? It is only 2, that is B. Coming to question number 9. Consider the following statements. Endogenic and exogenic forces causes only, this is the reason normally we say that it means look for these words, right? Only thing is that we have not concluded whether it is right or wrong, but we are just very cautiously looking for this word called as only. When I talk about endogenic and exogenic forces causes only physical stress in bringing about a change in configuration of the surface of the earth. Now, let us understand whether this only works or not. Now, when I talk about stress, there are different types of stress. At least when I talk about stresses, it can be physical or it can be chemical. It says endogenic and exogenic, right? Now, one thing I know, words like only normally is not a word which normally belongs to geography, right? This is one side. As a layman, if I want to answer this question, seeing this word only, I can mark it as wrong. But when I talk about the understanding, why exactly we don't have this statement validity, right? We'll understand. When I talk about exogenic force, we have forces like groundwater. When I talk about exogenic force, agent of gradation like groundwater, I also have a topography called as karst topography. So when I talk about karst topography, I understand that this exogenic forces itself is more of the chemical stresses than that of the physical stresses, right, sir? So it means I do not only have this physical stress which is induced, I also have chemical stress which is induced. So simple, the statement is wrong. Statement 2. The magma is a geomorphic agent. And one more thing, since this is just a test where I have to qualify, this is not the test of knowledge. Here, what I want to insist, one point let me insist. Here we are looking for the statement which is right. And without any doubt, denial, we have marked that statement 1 is wrong, right? Because we know that it means it induces also the chemical stress. Now, directly you can arrive at an answer, because this is a kind of an easy question what you come across. Reason is very simple. Once you eliminate 1, I understand A cannot be the answer because I have 1. B cannot be the answer because I have 1. D cannot be the answer because I have 1. It means you are left out only with C. Right, here itself I can conclude that C is a right statement. But still, if you do not want to take chance, then you can almost read this sentence again. When I talk about statement 2, magma is a geomorphic agent. Obviously, right. What is a geomorphic agent? Anything which brings changes in the surface of the earth, you call them as a geomorphic agent. Magma, on solidification, it forms igneous rocks. Many modification it forms. Obviously, magma is a geomorphic agent. No denial about it. Statement 3, it says gravity and gradient are responsible for the action of exogenic force. Whenever I talk about exogenic force, weathering is an exogenic force. Landslide is an exogenic force. When I talk about landslide, how exactly landslide is facilitated? Gravity. How exactly a flow of river is facilitated? Gravity. When I talk about the flow of glacier, again it is gravity, right? So gravity plays a very important role. Not only that, to facilitate gravity, to facilitate the movement, I should have a gradient. What is this gradient? Slope. So only if slope is there, I have the well specified movement of this exogenic forces acting on it. So answer again, as we discussed, answer should be C, right? That is 2 and 3 only, right, sir? Question number 10. Consider the following statements. Air is colorless and odorless. Everybody knows this is one of the simplest statement what we come across. We're talking about air. Air can be felt only when it flows or when it blows as a wind. Obviously, yes. Right. You can feel air only when it flows, the movement of flow of air masses, completely horizontal movement of air mass, you call them as a wind. Statement 2 is absolutely right. Now coming to the statement 3, it says entire mass of atmosphere is confined to the height of 32 kilometers from the surface. According to statement 3, they say the extent of atmosphere itself is 32 kilometers. Again, everybody knows this is absolutely not, because we know when I talk about the height of atmosphere, sometimes I can say that atmosphere can very normally extend till the height of 1000 kilometers, or extraordinary condition you can also say 10,000 kilometers also I can have the extension, right sir? So statement 3 is wrong. So what can be the answer for this question? It should be 1 and 2 only, that is B. Question number 11. With reference to Himalayas, which of the following statement is correct? Now one statement says it creates extreme winter condition in the north. It means northern plains of India, as simple as this. Whether this statement is right? Certainly not, because Himalayas plays a very important role in not allowing one extremely cold polar wind which is sourced from Siberia to enter India. You call them as purgas. This wind is actually not allowed inside India. Right? Himalayas is a barrier which stops this wind. If this wind would have means almost entered India, then the temperature of northern plains would have dropped tremendously. It means statement 1 is wrong, because it moderates, it do not results in extreme winter condition. So just to remove the statement 1, right? Again, here again taking a cognizance, if I am just removing statement 1, A cannot be the answer. If I am just removing statement 1, D cannot be the answer. If that is the case, I have a choice only between B and C. Right, both B and C I have 2. It means what decides my answer? The validity of 3. I have to check whether 3 is valid or not. Now let us check it. It says it has no role in interception of westerly jet. Again, this statement is wrong. Himalayas is the one which bifurcates the south or the so-called subtropical westerly jet into 2. Right, Himalayas. It means it bifurcates, and that part or that branch of subtropical westerly jet that flows south of Himalayas is the one which results in western disturbance also. Right, if that is the case, this statement is wrong. Right, 3 is not the answer. So answer for this question should be B. It is 2 only. Right, sir. Direct question, question number 12, very direct answer. Even among the 3 statements, even 1 if you know, that you can arrive at a right answer. This is one of the easiest question what you can have. It says it originates near Baralachalla passes in Zaskar or Zaskar ranges as such. Right, if you are not very sure about it, no problem. We'll just see whether the statement 2 you can find which river it is. It is formed by 2 streams, the Chandra and Baga. Right, sir. Here itself you can come to a conclusion, because when I talk about a river which originates from the confluence of Chandra and Baga, I have this river called as Chenab. Reason, the other name of Chenab itself is called as Chandrabhaga. Right, there itself I can identify. Right, this they are talking about this river called as Chenab. Still, if you are not satisfied, one more statement, one more clue also they give you. It is the largest tributary of river Indus. Right, sir. At least one statement, even with respect to means, even at least one statement, if you are sure that it is every road is leading to Chenab, you just go for Chenab. Right, sir, because I understand that this is the largest tributary of Indus also. Right, sir. So one of the easiest question, answer is Chenab. Question number 13. With reference to ocean temperature. Again, I understand whenever I talk about ocean temperature, if not described in detail, it means it's a surface temperature. When I talk about the ocean surface temperature, which of the following statement is right? They say land breeze creates longitudinal variation in temperature of the ocean water. This statement is obviously right. While answering one question previously, we were talking about this offshore wind. Now what I said, when I talk about offshore wind, what is this longitudinal variation? It means east versus west. Right, if at all, if you are just almost traveling either in the along a particular latitude, say you are traveling cutting across different longitude, you call them as a longitudinal variation. So what I understand, whenever a wind flows from the land, right, this wind will remove the warm waters from the surface water. If the warm waters are removed, right, what was lying below this warm water comes to the surface in the form of upwelling. So mostly when I talk about upwelling, right, here because of the removal of warm waters, right, I have cold water now coming to the surface. Right, if that is the case, very well this land breeze, what is this land breeze? Offshore winds. right, can create longitudinal variation. Obviously, this is right. Number 2, it says landlocked seas of lower latitudes experience very high temperature, right, very high temperature, right sir. Landlocked seas of lower latitudes experience a very high temperature. This is obviously right. Reason is very simple. When I talk about landlocked seas, right, what is this landlocked seas? A marginal water body which behaves more like that of a land, right. If land can register extreme temperature profile, this can also result in extreme temperature profile. It means this statement is obviously right. Marginal water bodies, right. Say for examples, when I talk about landlocked water bodies, the finest example I have water bodies called as Gulf Stream, right. Though completely not landlocked, I have water bodies like Red Sea. They are more continental water bodies, right sir. So answer to this question, it is both 1 and 2, right. Coming to question number 14, which of the following does not, please very carefully look for this word called as does not. Which one of the following does not characterize the Himalayas? So you should say that which is not a character of Himalayas. Various parallel ranges forming a convex arc. It means I have series of parallel ranges. It means it is, of course, the character of Himalayas. Syntaxial bend at both ends. What is the syntaxial bend? A kind of a U-turn. It means where a river takes along the exteriors of both this, right, eastern and westernmost extents. Say one syntaxial bend I have near this Nanga Parbat and one syntaxial bend I have near Namcha Barwa, right sir. It means syntaxial bend, yes, with Himalayas I have both syntaxial bend at both the ends. Presence of antecedent drainage systems, yes. I have rivers like Ganga, I have rivers like Sangpo, Indus, they are antecedent rivers, yes, right sir. And here itself I know what can be the answer. D should be the answer because every other feature is a feature of Himalayas, right sir. And let us check it. When I talk about D, presence of more elevation in the western part when compared to the eastern part. According to the statement, they say western Himalayas is more elevated. Say for something like Jammu and Kashmir Himalayas is more elevated, and what lies in the eastern side of Himalayas is less elevated. This statement is wrong because when I talk about eastern Himalayas, right, along this great Himalayas, if I am there in the eastern side of this Himalayas, right, what I understand is when I talk about peaks like Mount Everest, when I talk about peaks like Kanchenjunga, right, where exactly they are located? They are located along the eastern margins, not along the western margins. It means this statement is wrong. So what is the question? Question says which is not the character of Himalayas. It means answer should be D, right. Now question number 15. Consider the following statement with regard to the evolution of Earth's atmosphere. How exactly this Earth's atmosphere got evolved over a period of time. Solar winds, they say. Only thing is that we have to understand whether the solar wind or any other feature given here has any role in changing the composition of the atmosphere in general. See, when I talk about solar wind played a very important role in modifying the composition of the atmosphere. Because when I talk about the primordial atmosphere, the very primitive atmosphere which got created, it means the most of this atmosphere which got created, right, at the primordial state, it was removed by the solar wind. The solar wind which comes from the sun, right, with a very great force, it has removed most of the primordial atmosphere what we had, right sir. It means when I talk about gases like helium, hydrogen, which used to be excessive during that primordial means condition, it means that composition is completely changed because of solar winds. Not only Earth, all terrestrial planets, right, very small planets. When I talk about Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars, you call them as a terrestrial planet, right. Almost all these terrestrial planets, solar wind has almost modified the atmosphere in general, right sir. Degassing. Degassing is the one which has resulted in majority of today's atmosphere. That gas which has escaped from the surface of the Earth, you call them as a degassing, right sir. Photosynthesis. Photosynthesis played a very important role. This is the one which has increased the level of oxygen in the atmosphere. It means answer to this is all, right. Every feature that is given here has played a very important role, vital role in the evolutionary process of Earth's atmosphere. Question number 16. Which of the following are causes that precedes mass movement? See, what is this mass movement? Mass movement is nothing but landslides. As a layman will understand. If we talk about mass movement as a landslide, mass movement, it is nothing but a landslide. The only thing is that I should understand what are the following, or which of the following are the causes that precedes landslide. Put it very simple, right? What can result in landslide? This way I can understand the question, right? Heavy downpour or heavy drawn down of water from lakes, reservoir, etc. Possible, yes. If at all, if I have a sudden release of water from dams, reservoir, etc., it means this movement of water can result in landslide also. Obviously, yes. Loss of natural vegetation, obviously, yes. Right. Put it very simple, deforestation. Right. When I talk about deforestation, right, deforestation increases the avenue of landslide. Right. Heavy rainfall, yes. Very recent Kerala flood also I can take it. Right. Increase in gradient or height, obviously, yes. It means whenever there is a steep slope, landslide will be very, very evident, very, very normal. Right. If that is the case, all is the answer. If I talk about the correct answers, you go for D. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, sir. Question number 17. Which of the following factors influence the level of incoming solar radiation towards the surface of the earth? Put very simple, what can affect insolation? Rotation of earth on its axis. Can it affect insolation? What is this rotation of earth results in? Day-night variation. Whenever I talk about insolation, insolation is received only during the day. It means it is going to affect. If length of day is more, insolation will be more. If length of day is less, insolation will be less. If that is the case, answer is yes. Right, sir. Now, when I talk about 2, angle of inclination of sun's rays plays a very important role. When I talk about the angle of sun's rays falling is more vertical, high sun position, insolation will be more. Slanting sun's rays, insolation will be less. Right, sir. So, statement 2 is also perfectly right. Length of the day, the extension of this point number 1. More is the length of the day. Summers, insolation is more. Less is the length of the day. Winters, insolation is less. Transparency of atmosphere. If atmosphere is more transparent, insolation will be more. If atmosphere is more opaque in nature, insolation will be less. Put it very simple. More cloud cover, insolation will be less. More aerosols in atmosphere, insolation will be less. It means, answer to this question is simple. It is all. All plays a very important role in determining insolation. Question number 18. Talk about question number 18. Which of the following statement are true with respect to western disturbance in India? Now, what is this western disturbance? Winter precipitation in India, we call them as western disturbances. Right, sir. Now, it says, westerly jet streams brings moisture from Mediterranean Sea. Obviously, the statement is right because subtropical westerly jet is the one which brings the moisture from Mediterranean Sea. No doubt, the statement is right. Statement 2. The western disturbances reduces the night temperature. This statement is wrong. Water is a moderator. Right. When I talk about western disturbances reduce the night temperature, no. Particularly when I talk about western disturbances, understand western disturbance is a phenomena which we experience during winters. And normally winters night are very cold. Water being a moderator, whenever I have precipitation, the night temperature will be increased. It means water is a moderator. Extreme conditions will be moderated. If it is very high, temperature will be reduced. If temperature is already low, the temperature will be increased. Right, sir? It means statement 2 is wrong. Answer to this question, select the correct answer should be A only, sir, or A or 1 only. Right, sir. Which of the following statement or which of the following is or the tributaries of river Brahmaputra? So, among the following tributaries, you have to identify which of the tributaries or the tributaries of Brahmaputra as such. Right. Dhansiri, yes. Directly factual. Subansiri, yes. Kameng, yes. Manas, yes. Kolang, yes. It means all 5 are tributaries of Brahmaputra. So, coming to question number 20. With reference to the salinity of the ocean waters, which of the following statement is right? So, with respect to the salinity of ocean water, surface salinity depends only on evaporation and precipitation. And whenever we come across this word called as only, we said approach it with very cautiously, we just approach it. One thing I understand, it is not only evaporation and precipitation which determines the ocean water salinity, continentality, influx of fresh water, ocean currents, etc. They determine the ocean water salinity. It means statement 1 is wrong. Now, here itself, I can remove 2 options from my answers. A, I can remove it because it contains 1. D, I can remove it because it contains 1. I have a choice to be made only between 2 and 3. So which statement almost takes a decision for me is the statement 3. So what is the statement 3? It says changes in density influences salinity of the ocean. A very tricky question. For example, when I talk about salinity, what is this salinity? What amount of salt measured in grams that is present per 1 liter of water, sir? Right. You call them as salinity. Imagine density is almost resulting in difference. If almost a water body becomes more dense, now what I understand, it means if it is becoming more dense, the grams that is measured in weight, there is not going to be any change, but volume, there is going to be a change, right? Whether it is expanding or if it is contracting, understanding says the salinity pattern will almost, they will change. If that is the case, density can very well results in the difference in salinity pattern. So what is the answer? Answer for this question should be C. That is 2 and 3 only. Right, sir. Going to question number 21. Consider the following statement regarding the coastal plains in India. It says, eastern coastal plains is an example of submerged plains. Again, this is an example, means this is wrong because east coast plain is an example of emergence. So statement 1 is wrong. Again, if you know, statement 1 is wrong, I can remove 2. If that is the case, only one option I have to be taken it very carefully. I have to see. Statement 3 is a decisive statement, right, sir? It says natural harbors are majorly found in eastern coast. Again, this statement is wrong because natural harbors are normally found along the western coast and not along the eastern coast. So what should be the answer? Answer should be B, sir. Coming to question number 22. Which among the following can be considered as an indirect source of information about interiors of Earth? For that, I should understand what is this direct source and indirect source, right? See, for example, you directly take the sample from the interiors of the Earth, right? Almost you come to the conclusion, okay, fine, that this is how this interiors of the Earth may look like. You call them as a direct source, right? If you don't have any material to be tested in that reality, right, any other derived information, you call them as an indirect source. So mining is a direct source. Mining, I almost extract the material from Earth's interior. I just test about the interiors of the Earth. So mining is more of a direct source. It means mining should not be part of my answer. One should not be part of my answer. Again, my choice lies between B and C. So what is the decisive statement I have? I have to see whether it is 4. Let us not concerned about 2 and 3. Reading 2 and 3 and almost thinking is waste of time, right, sir? Now coming to this statement 4, seismic activity plays a very important role. When I talk about the interiors of the Earth, the overall idea of the Earth is thrown only by this seismic study or seismic analysis. That's the reason we say earthquake is the windows of Earth's interior. Again, when I talk about earthquake, it do not gives you the direct evidence, it gives you only the indirect evidence. We study the body waves, we study P wave, primary wave and secondary wave, and accordingly we conclude the interiors of the Earth. So what should be the answer for this? Answer should be C. Right, sir. Question number 23. Which of the following is not a reason for landslide occurring in Western Ghats? See, in India, there are 2 places which is highly prone to landslide. One Himalayas, one Western Ghats. We are talking about that reason which is not the reason which can trigger a landslide in Western Ghats. Right, sir. There are many steeper cliffs and escarpments in Western Ghats. Yes, this is one very important reason why we have landslide in Western Ghats. The second statement says there is a mechanical weathering due to temperature changes. Right, sir. Certainly says answer is yes. Right. Whenever I talk about the weathering, weathered material, gravity shifted, you call them as a landslide. And they receive heavy rainfall, accepted. Even when I talk about the recent Kerala flood and the eventual landslide, heavy rainfall has resulted in landslide, accepted. They are tectonically stable. This as a fact is very right, but tectonically stable, being tectonically stable should not induce landslide. But we are talking about the reasons which can induce landslide. It means what is not a reason is this tectonically stable. Right, sir. Question number 24. Which of the following influences the temperature of air? Right, sir. So what exactly influence atmospheric temperature? As simple as this. Latitude of a place. Yes, the primary reason. Right. Distance from a place from the sea. You call them as a continentality Altitude of a place, mountains being colder and plains being warmer, altitude. Longitude of a place, no. Longitude do not play that role in determining the temperature, right? Longitudinally, I cannot say this longitude will be warmer and this longitude will be colder. That we cannot say. If that is the case, excluding longitude, answer should be 1, 2 and 3, answer should be A, sir. So 24, answer should be A. Question number 25. With reference to ITCZ, what is this ITCZ? Intertropical Convergence Zone. Layman's understanding, we call them as equatorial low. Right, sir. Which of the following statement is right? With reference to ITCZ, which of the following statement is right? It says it is essentially a belt of high pressure. This itself is absolutely wrong, because I know ITCZ is nothing but a low pressure. It's a zone where air tends to descend. Again wrong, because this is the place where air tends to rise. You call them as ITCZ, equatorial low. Normally exist between 10 degree north and 10 degree south. This is the place I have this ITCZ, intertropical convergence zone. So answer to this is neither 1 nor 2. Answer should be D, sir. Coming to question number 26. River Sutlej passes through which of the following states? Right, sir. So when I talk about river Sutlej, one thing I understand when I talk about river Sutlej, right, sir, it passes through Himachal Pradesh, because I understand Himachal Pradesh is the place where this river enters Indian territory. We have a place, almost we have a pass, we call it as a Shipkila. Shipkila itself is that pass through which this river enters Himachal Pradesh. So Himachal Pradesh undoubtedly yes. Uttarakhand it is no. So here itself we can come to a conclusion. My answer should have 2, right, but not 1, right, sir. Here itself you can conclude what is the answer, what can be the answer. Answer is 2 and 3, right, because Uttarakhand 110% I am sure that it is not flowing in Uttarakhand, right. Answer should not have Uttarakhand. It means 1 should not be there, but 2 should be there. Only possibility what I have is B, right, sir. Otherwise it is completely factual. Question number 27. With reference to the salinity of the ocean water, which of the following statement is correct? North Sea has a lesser salinity due to the latitude it is located. See, when I talk about North Sea, accepted, yes, North Sea is known for its low latitudinal perspective, means low salinity, but this low salinity is not because of the latitudinal reasons. It is because of the influx of warm waters, what we call them as, right, North Atlantic drift and Norwegian current, right. If that is the case, this statement is wrong, right. North Sea is having less in salinity, but the reason is not because of its latitudinal location. The reason is for influx of this warm waters, right. Black Sea and Baltic Sea have high salinity due to their landlocked nature. Now, this is one place where I have words called as and, which is coming in and integrating 2 words. So wherever you come across this word called as and integrating 2 statements, when exactly the statement can be right? Only on condition where both 1 and 2 should be correct together. Now here, whether you know about Black Sea or not, Baltic Sea, you can come to a conclusion. When I talk about Baltic Sea is located in higher latitudes. When I talk about higher latitudinal location, marginal water bodies will have lesser salinity, not high salinity. Lower latitudes, marginal water body will have high salinity, but higher latitudes, completely, there is a reversal which takes place, right, sir, because water maintains temperature, right, sir. If that is the case, this statement is also wrong. Let me repeat it. Baltic Sea has low salinity, not high salinity. So what should be the answer for it? It should be neither 1 nor 2, sir. That is D. Consider the following pairs: scale and what it measures. Richter scale. What Richter scale measures? Right, Richter scale measures the magnitude of an earthquake and Mercalli scale measures the intensity of the earthquake. Now what is the question? Which of the following is correctly matched? Neither of it, because Richter scale it is given as intensity and Mercalli it is given as magnitude. Rather it should be other way around. If it is interchanged, yes. So what should be the answer for it? Neither 1 nor 2. Coming to question number 29. It says weathering is a precondition for erosion. What exactly weathering is a precondition of erosion means? It means only if weathering takes place, erosion can take place. Not necessarily. Even without weathering, erosion can take place. Only thing is that weathered material the rate of erosion will be fast forwarded. Right, sir. So, understanding says weathering is not a precondition for erosion to take place. Right. Erosion can take place with or without weathering, almost resulting in. Now, here itself directly you can almost arrive at a right answer. How? You have almost come to a conclusion that statement 1 is wrong. It means my answer should not have statement 1. A is removed, B is removed and D is removed. What is left is only C and D. This is another way normally where you can save time in the examination. And one more thing, this logic you employ only if you are very sure that a statement is right or wrong. Right, sir. Otherwise, if you are having a doubt, please go through the rest of the statements also. Right, sir. So, answer to this question will be C, sir. 2 and 3. Question number 30. Consider the following statement. Compared to land, sea gets heated slowly and loses heat quickly. Again, word and. On what condition and will become right? Both should be right. But unfortunately, sea gets heated slowly, that is right, but sea do not lose this heat quickly. Right. The time taken for sea to get heated also takes a lot of time. The time taken for ocean or sea to lose this heat also takes a lot of time. So, it means the statement is wrong. Statement 2. Temperature variation in sea is more compared to land. What is temperature variation? Fluctuation, range. They say temperature range in sea is more. No, it should be other way around. Temperature range in sea is very less. Why again? One clue, right? Underlining statement says water maintains temperature. It means the statement is also wrong. What are the correct answer? It is neither 1 nor 2, sir. Answer should be D. Question number 31. With reference to El Nino phenomena, which of the following statement is right? They say warm ocean currents off the coast of Peru in South America is replaced by cold current. Very carefully read it. It is not right because I understand they have reversed the situation. What I understand, normally Peru current is a cold current. This cold Peruvian current is replaced by warm waters. Now here they have given cold water replacing warm water. No, it should be the other way around. Cold Peruvian current being replaced by warm water. It means statement 1 is wrong. Coming to statement 2. This usually has an adverse effect over monsoon and results in reduced rainfall. Everybody knows whenever El Nino occurs, Indian monsoon will be a failure. It means the statement is very easy statement. Statement 2 is obviously right. Answer to this should be B, that is 2 only. Question number 32. Which of the following rivers has an antecedent drainage? Now, what is this antecedent drainage? Very old rivers, you call them as antecedent drainage. Those rivers which would have existed even before the formation of a feature, you call them as antecedent rivers. Right, sir. Sutlej, yes. Kosi, yes. Subansiri, yes. Now, what is the logic to identify antecedent rivers? Antecedent river list is plenty, sir. But one logic you can apply. What is this logic? Indus, Brahmaputra and Ganga, they are antecedent river. Not only these rivers, normally those Himalayan tributaries of these rivers which considerably has a large length, or it means, let me call it as it means larger length, right? Long profile is almost sufficient enough, right? That also you can consider that it is an example of an antecedent rivers, right, sir? If that is the case, answer should be D. Question number 33, right? Very recently the names of these islands have been changed. Right, 3 islands in Andaman, the names have been changed. Rose Islands was changed as Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Dweep. Dweep means island. Right, sir. Neil Island was renamed as Shahid and Havelock Island is renamed as Swaraj Dweep. Directly factual. Current affairs information. Answer is D. All 3 is correctly matched. Question number 34. Consider the following statement with respect to the structure of Earth. Structure of Earth. It means Earth's interior. The crust is brittle in nature. Yes. Generally, you say lithosphere is brittle in nature, but I understand crust completely is made up of lithosphere. Yes, obviously it is brittle in nature, no denial about it. One is obviously right. Now again, to save your time. Right, sir. To save your time. Now what I understand, this statement is talking about the statement which is not correct. It means my answer should not have 1. 1 is a right statement. If that is the case, my answer should not have 1 because I am looking for not correct. So my choice lies between option B and option C. Right. Fine, sir. Now, if that is the case, I can take a decision between 2 and 4. Right, sir. Now, coming to statement 2. Statement 2 says oceanic crust is thicker as compared to the continental crust. Right, sir. This statement is wrong because I understand oceanic crust is normally thin. Right. They are basaltic in nature but very thin but high in density. When I talk about continental crust, they are comparatively thick because they can exist anywhere between 30 to 80 kilometers of thickness. When I talk about oceanic crust, they can extend anywhere between 5 to 15 kilometers. So, the statement is wrong. So, what can be the potential answer for it? Answer can be B, right, sir, because only B has 2 in it, right, sir. So, answer is B, 34. See, question number 35. Which of the following factor controls soil formation? See, climate and soil formation or climate and vegetation, they are very closely related. Right? If that is the case, we will understand that what are the different factors which influence the soil formation. Climate, yes, plays a very important role. Parent material, yes. See, because when I talk about soil formation itself is a weathered material of a parent rock, right, sir? That is the case, parent material plays a very important role. Topography, yes, undoubtedly, topography plays a very important role, and biological activity also plays a very important role. So, whenever I talk about the humus content in the soil, I understand biological activity is the one which determines the humus content in the soil. So, answer to this, it's direct all 1, 2, 3 and 4. Question number 36. Consider the following statement. The thickness of troposphere is more at equator than at poles. Very direct statement because we understand tropopause level is not uniform. Tropopause level is marked somewhere at 18 kilometers over equator and 8 kilometers over poles. Right. Understanding says the statement is obviously right, perfectly right. Right, sir. Now, statement 2, when I talk about question means statement 2, 36. The troposphere at any latitude is thicker in summer than in winters. Now, let us understand, when I talk about the tropopause being extended at the equatorial region, what extends this tropopause at equatorial region is the rising convection. So, wherever there is a rising convection, tropopause will be extended. Wherever there is a subsiding convection, tropopause will be truncated. Now, during summers, normally we will be having the expansion of atmosphere. During winters, normally what happens, we will be experiencing subsidence, we will be having subsiding convection, it means tropopause will be truncated. So, what is the understanding? Treated in almost reading this line, right, again, troposphere at any latitude is thicker in summers, yes, than in winters, obviously yes. So, it means both the statement given is correct. So, what are the correct statements here? It is both 1 and 2. Right, sir. Now, question number 37. With respect to the distribution of precipitation due to southwest monsoon, which of the following statement is correct? The amount of rainfall in peninsular India decreases from west to east. This statement is obviously right because peninsular India experiences precipitation from Arabian Sea branch of southwest monsoon. So, it enters via the west coast and leaves the east coast. This statement is obviously right. Statement 2 says the amount of rainfall in northern plains decreases from east to west. Again, the statement is right because when I talk about northern plains in general, the Bay of Bengal branch enters the northern plains, right, almost via West Bengal and Orissa it enters the northern plains and flows towards the west. So, it means eastern side will be more wet and western side will be comparatively dry. It means statement 2 is also obviously right. So, select the correct answer. It should be both 1 and 2. Sir. Question number 38. Which of the following geological event shaped the evolution of peninsular drainage system in India? Right, sir. It means whenever I talk about evolution, modification, changes, everything you can bring in. Right, sir. So, what has resulted in the present nature of this river systems that is there in peninsular India? Subsidence of the western flank of peninsula, right? What I call them as epirogenesis. Obviously, yes. Right, sir. Now, when I talk about the upheave of Himalayas, So whenever Himalayas shifted, whether it has resulted in any modification in the peninsular block, understanding is mostly when I talk about those rivers which is flowing in the northwestern part of this peninsular block, it is also affected, right sir. Now here itself I can come to a conclusion because this is one statement where I have more than 2 correct answers. If that is the case, here I have a clue. I also have an option saying that all of the above. So let's check whether 3 is also right. So tilting of peninsular block from northwestern side to southeastern side. It means northwestern side of peninsular block is slightly elevated and southeastern side slightly there is a slope. So that is the reason most of the rivers, when I talk about the flow of this peninsular rivers, they flow from west to east, right sir. So this statement is also right. Now what is the conclusion when I talk about the most appropriate statement here? Right, it should be all of the above, sir. Question number 39. Consider the following statement. Lava released from a volcano on cooling forms igneous rock. More than lava, it should be magma, but let us not worry about it. So lava released from volcano on cooling forms an igneous rock. No denial about it. This statement is right. Now here, again taking a clue. This statement asks about the statement which is not correct. It means my answer should not have 1. So what are the statements I can remove? A I can remove as an option. B I can remove as an option. D I can remove as an option. What is remaining is only C. Right sir, this is one way or the best way of arriving at an answer in the examination, saving time. But still if you are not very sure about it, what is the potential answer? Again follow it. Statement 1 I know it is right. Cooling of lava at surface creates plutonic rock. This statement is wrong. When I talk about cooling of lava in the surface of the earth, it cannot be plutonic. What is plutonic? Buried, subsurface. If it is there in the surface, it cannot be subsurface. It means this statement is wrong. Cooling of lava in the earth's crust create volcanic rock. Right sir. So when I talk about cooling of lava in earth's crust create volcanic rocks, it means above the earth's crust it can create volcanic rock, not below the crust, right sir. So this is also wrong. So what should be the answer for this? It should be C, that is 2 and 3. Coming to question number 40 sir. Consider the following statements. Crust contains a weak zone called as asthenosphere, right sir. This statement itself is wrong because I understand asthenosphere is not part of crust, asthenosphere is part of mantle. Here again, as we always employ, whatever one statement comes in, you can remove it, sir. It means answer lies, my option lies between A and B, right. Now among A and B, what can be the decisive statement? It is statement number 3. So what is statement number 3? The material that reaches the ground includes lava flow, yes. Pyroclastic debris, yes. Volcanic bombs, yes. Ash, dust, gases, etc. Obviously, yes. It means statement 3 is right. So what can be the answer for it? It is 2 and 3. That is B. Question number 41. Which of the following is not a contributor to evolution of landform? If that is the case, first we will understand which is the contributor of evolution of landform. Then we will say which has not resulted in evolution. Glacier, yes. I have a landform which is created by glacier. Wind. When I talk about the Aeolian topography, right? Topography in the desert, it is created by wind. Stability of a sea level. Rise and fall of sea level will affect the landform formation in general. Climate plays a very important role in determining the landform of any particular place. It means all are contributor. But what is the question which is not a contributor? It means none. So 41 answer is D. Coming to question number 42, sir. With reference to winter in peninsular region, southern region of India, right? Which of the following statement is correct? Maritime influence reduce the intensity of winter and keeps condition moderate. What is maritime influence? Influence of the ocean or influence of the sea, right? Wherever influence of sea is there, temperature variation is moderated, right sir? So climatic condition is moderated. Number 2, proximate to equator helps in keeping the temperature up even during the winters. It means winter is not extremely cold. What is the reason? Because this region is very near to the equator, where the sun's angle of incidence may not be very, very low. Right, sir? If that is the case, the statement, both the statements are correct. Answer should be 1 and 2. Right, sir? 42. So coming to 43, sir. Consider the following pairs. Volcanic features, and we have to say it means whether this description is right or wrong. Batholith. They say large domes in deeper depth of crust. When I talk about batholith are very, very large. They are right. Right, sorry, excuse me, batholith. Batholith, when I say they are very large structure, plutonic structure, what we have in Earth's interior. All these are intrusive volcanic features. Whenever the magma tries to come to the surface of the Earth, if it gets solidifies well within the surface of the Earth, we call them as a plutonic features. We call them as intrusive volcanic feature. Batholith is very large. Right, sir. Now comes to lopolith. Lopolith, they say lava develops in a saucer shaped. Yes, a kind of a concave structure you have, a saucer shaped structure what we have in Earth's interior, you call them as a lopolith. So 2 is also right. Phacolith. Phacolith, they say it is dome shaped intrusive bodies in the level of base. When I talk about dome shaped, it is not phacolith, rather it is lopolith is the dome shaped. If that is the case, phatholith is a wavy pattern of magma. Right, you call them as a phacolith. Right, sir. So what can be the correct answer? It is only 1 and 2. So option is B. Question number 44. Which of the following factors have an influence in determining the climate of a region? Right, sir. When I talk about determining climate of a region, latitudinal extent, undoubtedly latitude plays a very important role. Diurnal range of temperature. When I talk about diurnal range of temperature, right, sir. Almost we'll just treat it at the last. We'll just come to a conclusion at the last. Windward and leeward location of the region, obviously yes. So whenever I talk about climate is all about temperature. Apart from temperature, it also talks about the precipitation, sir. Right. If that is the case, windward and leeward size plays a very important role. Right, sir. Influence of stratospheric cloud. One thing I say, when I talk about stratospheric cloud, there is no cloud in stratosphere. It means this statement itself is wrong. Distribution of land water. Obviously, it plays a very important role. You call them as a continentality. Now, few things we are very sure, that it is right, and few things we are very sure it is wrong. Right, we'll also understand what is this statement 2 later. Right, sir. Now, here itself I can come to a conclusion. What my answer should have? My answer should have 1, 3 and 5, but not 4. How many answers I don't have with 4? Only 1. That answer should be C. Right, sir. Now, 2 is a tricky statement. So, here 2 is not affecting the option as such. But still, the statement 2 is a very tricky statement. It says diurnal range of temperature. One thing I should understand, diurnal range of temperature itself is not affecting the climate, right? It's a climatic character itself. When I talk about diurnal range of temperature, this itself is a climatic character. So it is not affecting the climate, it itself is a climatic character, right, sir? So this is what almost we are just taking a little cautiously, we are just looking about this statement called as 2, sir. Right, sir. Now what is the answer? Answer is 1, 3 and 5. Question number 45. Which of the following are regarded as evidences in support of continental drift theory? Right, sir. So many evidences we have. Among this, which is best options we have, that's what we have to see. Right, see, one, it is jigsaw fit of continents. Particularly when I talk about South America and Africa, the jigsaw of the continent is taken as one of the very important evidences to support Alfred Wegener's continental drift theory. Radiometric dating of rocks along Brazil and West Africa. Put it very simple. They are talking about the rocks, or at least when I talk about West Africa and Americas, we have old block mountains formation. So what we understand, this radio dating almost given us the idea that both these mountains, they formed during the similar ages. Right, sir. So again, yes, carbon dating or radiometric dating, right, of rocks is also taken as an evidence. Absence of lemur in Brazil. See, absence of lemur in Brazil is not taken as the evidence, but the presence of lemur in continents like Africa, Madagascar and India is taken as the evidence. It means the combined landmass where lemur once lived. Today, lemur is almost confined only to the island of Madagascar. So earlier when I talk about the combined landmass where lemur lived, right, today you call that landmass as Lemuria. Right, when I talk about Lemuria continent, it means completely hypothetical continent, but still, right, that continent you call them as a Lemuria continent, right, sir. So the presence of lemur in Madagascar can be an evidence, not the absence of lemur in Brazil. So this is not the evidence what we are taking, right, sir. Now I talk about absence of source rock for gold in Ghana. See, when I talk about the coast of Ghana is known as a gold coast itself. Very near to it, we have this gold coast, right, sir. Now when I talk about this gold coast, we call them as a placer gold. So when I talk about this placer gold, understanding says translocated gold, we call them as a placer gold, right, sir. Here the source of gold is not identified, only the destination of gold or the gold deposits we have identified. Not only Ghana, right. When I talk about Ghana's gold, it was actually sourced from Brazil. It is the other way around also. We have an example. We have a place called as Belém in Brazil, known for its placer gold deposit, but the source rock was identified in Upper Guinea as a region in Africa, right, sir. So it means, why understand, it means source area lies in Africa and destination Africa lies in South America, right, or it should be the other way around. That is taken as an example or evidence to suggest Alfred Wegener's continental drift theory. So what is the conclusion here? The correct answer is 1, 2 and 4. Question number 46. With reference to Lu winds, what is a Lu wind? The dusty winds, what is sourced from Rajasthan during the dry summer periods of India, we call them as a Lu winds, right, sir. So which of the following statement is right? They are dry and hot winds, yes, perfectly right, but are usually followed by light rains, yes, perfectly right. Number 2, it says the dust storms that are created by these winds cover very large area. Now this is what we call them as a qualifying words. They are not even saying large area, they are calling it as a very large area. What is a Lu? Lu itself is a local wind. What is this local wind? A wind which occupies a very small region, you call them as a local wind. It means it is not very large area, rather it is a very small area. So this statement is wrong. Why we are declaring this statement is wrong? Because what qualifies this statement happened to be wrong, right, sir. So what can be the answer for this? Right, select the right answer. It is 1 only. 46, answer is A. Coming to question number 47. With reference to thunderstorm, consider the following statement. Thunderstorms are caused by intense convection, rising convection obviously, on a moist, hot days. Obviously, yes. Right? Normally it is associated with cumulonimbus cloud or nimbus cloud in general. Right, sir. Now when I talk about the downdraft, see, whenever I talk about rising convection, this rising convection results in the movement within the cloud. The upward movement within the cloud, you call them as an updraft, and downward movement within the cloud, you call them as a downdraft. Right, sir. So when the statement 2, downdraft on the thunderstorms brings down cool air and rain. This is also obviously right. Very simple statement, a direct forward statement. Right, sir. If that is the case, answer to this should be both 1 and 2, sir. Question number 48. Consider the following statement. Due to gravity, the air at the surface is denser and hence has high pressure. Obviously, yes. See, when I talk about the vertical stratification of pressure, surface pressure is very high. Right? As you move slightly north, when you almost increase the height, pressure reduces. Because what is the pressure? Weight acting on unit area, you call them as a pressure. Force acting on a unit area, you call them as a pressure. So it means as you increase the height, density of this air mass decreases, weight induced by the column of the air mass also decreases. So understanding says, if that is the case, all that more dense air mass will be almost lying in the surface of the earth itself, along the surface of the earth. So statement 1 is obviously right. Statement 2. The variation in atmospheric pressure is primary cause of motion. Air motion. So why exactly air moves from place to place? It is because of the pressure difference what we have. You call them as a pressure gradient. Both are simple statement, direct statements. So the answer for this question will be both 1 and 2. Question number 49, sir. With reference to Coromandel coast, that is the coastal coast of Tamil Nadu. With reference to Coromandel coast, which of the following statement is correct? It remains dry during southwest monsoon as it lies parallel to Bay of Bengal branch of the monsoon. Yes, right. The only region or one of the few regions in India which lies dry during southwest monsoon is this Coromandel plains and Coromandel coast. Right. Statement 2. It does not receive rainfall from Arabian Sea branch as it lies in the rain shadow region. This is also right. Because even when I talk about the wind that almost moves from, the Arabian Sea side, when the wind is trying to move from Arabian Sea side, I understand this wind enters Kerala, but surpassing Western Ghats, this wind almost becomes dry. Right, sir. By the time it enters the plains of Tamil Nadu. Right, sir. So, what is the correct answer? Correct answer is both. Answer should be both 1 and 2. Question number 50. Consider the following statement. Statement 1 says, mud flows are of only rapid mass. Again, savior comes in. We come across this word called as only. Mud flow are of only rapid mass movement. Idea says, mud flow can be of rapid mass movement or it can be of a slow mass movement also. It means statement 1 is wrong. Right, sir. Now coming to statement 2. Volcanic ash also is a material of mud flow. You may come across this earth flow or a mud flow called as lahar. Sir. When I talk about lahar, what is a lahar? Water saturated pyroclast and volcanic ash moving along the slope of volcanic mounds. You call them as lahar. It means sometimes this mud flow can also be contributed by volcanic ash. Statement 2 is obviously right. Now here itself you can come to an answer. What is the answer? Answer, my option should have 2 but not 1. What is the only possibility? That is statement 2. But still we will just see the validity of the statement 3. Third statement says debris avalanche, other word what we use it for a landslide, occurs only in narrow steeps with vegetative cover. Right. What is a tricky word? It occurs in narrow steep, but where? Those places where vegetative cover is not there. Wherever vegetative cover is there, landslide will be restricted. Right, sir. It means this statement is wrong. Again, answer is same. What is the correct answer? It is only statement 2, sir. Question number 51. The rate of change of pressure with respect to the distance is called as pressure gradient. Only thing is that they are defining what is pressure gradient. Which among the following condition have a strong pressure gradient? This is what the question is. Right, you call them as a pressure gradient slope. Right, sir. Lesser spacing between isobars or more spacing between isobars. See, this is one statement. You call them as a very easy statement. Even without knowing anything, you can almost try this question with merely the probability. See, both are mutually exclusive statement. If statement A is correct, B cannot be correct. Right, sir. If A is wrong, B can be right. This is what the idea is all about. If that is the case, no time or no possibility I will be having where both A and B together will be right or where A and B together will be wrong. So, answer should lie only between A and B. That's the reason we say these type of question, even without knowing the content, you can go for the answer merely based on probability. But still, very easy question. What is this? Lesser space between isobars. If isobars are very closely placed, right, the pressure gradient force will be very steep and the velocity of the wind will be very, very high. Direct question. Answer is A. Right, sir. Question number 52. Which of the following region receives maximum amount of insolation in the world? Direct answer, it is tropical desert. Why not equatorial region? Because equatorial region is that place where you have more cloud cover. Sir. Cloud cover is very, very high in equatorial region. That is the reason insolation is slightly restricted. Tropical desert, to some extent, few places, even subtropical desert experience this high insolation. Right, sir. Question number 53. They are defining isobars. Isobars are the line connecting places having equal atmospheric pressure. Yes. Which of the following is or denoted by isobars. One, they say isobars or vertical distribution of atmospheric pressure. Absolutely wrong, because I understand isobars depicts only the horizontal pressure difference as such, right sir. So statement 2, isobars talks about the horizontal distribution of atmospheric pressure. So 1 should not be the answer. So choice is between 3 and 4, right sir. So what is the third statement? Distribution of atmospheric pressure, sorry, this isobars denotes the distribution of atmospheric pressure at sea level. Yes, distribution of atmospheric pressure at 8,848 meters also it shows, but not only 8,848 meters it shows. Only thing is that all pressures will be deducted with respect to the mean sea level. So mean sea level is the base where the pressure, sorry, the isobars are shown, right? If that is the case, most appropriate answer is 2 and 3, sir. So most appropriate answer is B, that is 2 and 3. Question number 54. Regarding running water as a geomorphic agent, consider the following statement. They say overland flow causes sheet erosion. What is this overland? Over the land, the water is flowing, right sir. They say it causes a sheet erosion. Like a sheet of layer of soil will be removed. You call them as a sheet erosion in humid region. Obviously, this statement is right. Second statement. It says the linear flow results only in valley formation. No, it may also result in valley formation. So, again the savior comes in the name of 2. So, what should be my answer? 1 should be there, but 2 should not be there. Right, sir. If that is the case, B is ruled out, D is ruled out. I have a choice only between A and C. So, we will take a conclusion. When I talk about third statement, overland flow may have either narrow or wide path. Even if one is satisfied, I understand this statement can be very, very right. See, whenever you are coming across an integrating word with or, most of the time probability says 75% of the time the statement will be right. And they are giving you both the options, right? Whether it can almost result in a narrow path as well as a broad path, right? All possibilities is covered here, right sir. So it means the qualifying statement has made this statement very, very easy, right sir. If that is the case, what is the correct answer? It is 1 and 3. So 54, the correct answer is 1 and 3. 55, sir. With reference to southern mountain forest, it means those mountains which is there in the peninsular part of India. Which of the following statement is right? They are found in Sahyadris, Western Ghats, Vindhyans, Nilgiris. Yes, right. It means what is lying in the peninsular part of India, accepted. Yes. They are devoid of temperate vegetation as the peninsular lies close to the equator. Now, very tricky question. They almost make to appear that this statement is right. But what is a almost hook here? They say temperate vegetation is not there. Excuse me. Temperate vegetation is not there because it is lying very near to the equator. But one thing you understand, increasing the sign of latitude is synonym with increasing the height or altitude in general. Even if you have a mountain in equatorial region, the base of the mountain will have equatorial type of a climate and it will have equatorial type of vegetation. Slowly, steadily you increase the height. It becomes tropical, it becomes subtropical, it becomes temperate in general. Right, sir? If that is the case, very well. These mountains, considerably tall heighted mountains, they have temperate vegetation. They are not devoid of temperate vegetation because higher altitudes of these mountains, you have this temperate vegetation. So, what is the answer? Right, it is 1 only. Answer should be A, sir. Question number 56. With reference to the phenomena of temperature inversion, consider the following statement. A long winter nights with cloudy skies and still air is the ideal condition for temperature inversion. Very carefully read it. Every condition is right except this condition. It means temperature inversion needs cloudless nights. Otherwise, all other condition is ideal condition for temperature inversion. So, this Because you need cloudless night, this statement is wrong. Statement number 2. Over polar areas, temperature inversion is normal throughout the year. Yes. Subsiding convection happens throughout the year. Very cold ground condition, whenever ground condition is very cold, normally temperature inversion prevails. Right, sir? So what is the answer for it? It is only B or 2 only. Right, sir? Question number 57. Consider the following statements. In the atmosphere, atmospheric pressure does not always decreases at constant rate with increasing height. That's the reason normally we say generally atmospheric temperature, it says in atmosphere the atmospheric pressure does not always decreases at constant rate with increasing height. From place to place, the rate of change of atmospheric pressure may change. Right, sir? Statement 2. In atmosphere, horizontal pressure gradient force is very large and vertical pressure gradient force is less. Right. It means they say in atmosphere, the horizontal pressure gradient force is larger than the vertical pressure gradient. Now here, this is a very tricky question because what is the reality? Reality says vertical difference in pressure is very, very high. Horizontal pressure difference is actually low. But now, why exactly the wind? If the pressure gradient wind or pressure gradient in vertical distribution is very high, understanding says air mass should flow vertical, more vertical flow of air mass should be there than that of horizontal movement. But here, I understand this pressure gradient force is almost nullified by the effectivity of gravity. Or I put it this way, imagine I have a high pressure at the surface and low pressure at the tropopause level. It means it means air mass should move rapidly almost towards this low pressure, but understanding says that almost this movement is restricted by the effect of gravity. Right, sir? Completely gravity compensates the movement as such. Right, sir? So if that is the case, this statement is wrong, sir. Why it is wrong? Because vertical difference in pressure is more than the horizontal distribution of pressure. Right, sir? So statement 1 is right and statement 2 is wrong. So what can be the answer for it? It is 1 only, that is A. Question number 58. Which of the following factors plays a role in deciding the pattern of planetary winds? What are planetary winds? Trade wind, westerlies and polar winds, you call them as a planetary winds. So it means what are the factors which influence the planetary winds? Latitudinal variation of atmospheric heating, obviously yes. Thermal direct pressure belts. Right. Number 2, it says pressure belts. This is the mother of all reason. Because I have different pressure belts existing at different latitudinal location, I have the movement of wind as such. Distribution of continents and ocean. Yes, of course. Right, sir. And it says rotation of the earth. Now, when I talk about rotation of the earth induces Coriolis effectivity. Coriolis effectivity is the one which induces the deflective nature of this wind, sir. So whenever I talk about the planetary wind in the northern hemisphere, the deflection is towards right, and southern hemisphere, the deflection is towards the left. Why? Rotation of the earth. So what should be the answer for it? Select the correct answer. It is all 4, sir. So 58, it is all 4. That is D is the option. Question number 59. Very easy question. Right. Regions and the name of the cyclones is given. Hurricane, South China Sea, Typhoon Atlantic Ocean, Willy Willis, Western Australia. Which of the following is correctly matched? Now, when I talk about hurricanes, where exactly I have hurricanes? It is not South China Sea, rather it is right North America or North Atlantic Ocean. We have hurricanes. When I talk about typhoon, where exactly we have typhoon? Typhoon is the one what we have in South China Sea. It means both this option they have interchanged, sir. It means this is also wrong, this is also wrong. What is the only right option we have? It is 3 only. So what is the answer? The correct answer is 3 only. So Willy Willis is the name of the tropical cyclones what we address in Australia. Question number 60. Consider the following statement. Climatology, it means basic definition of climatology and meteorology is almost explained. When I talk about climatology, is the study of genetic process and distributional patterns of atmospheric conditions immediately surrounding the Earth's surface. Yes, pretty good. This is the definition of climatology itself. When I talk about meteorology, meteorology is nothing but the study of weather science, sir. So both are correct. Answer is C only, that is both 1 and 2. Question number 61. With reference to the pressure belts, consider the following statements. The phenomena of shifting pressure belt is due to the apparent movement of sun from one hemisphere to another. Very simple. Whenever the sun moves north, all pressure belts move north. Whenever the sun's vertical rays move south, all pressure belts moves towards the south. So this statement is obviously right. Statement 2. In northern hemisphere, all pressure belt shift a little south during summer. This statement is wrong because I understand it is not south, it should be north. During summers, excuse me, all pressure belts they shift actually north and not south. So what is the correct answer here? It is 1 only. That is A is the answer. Question number 62, sir. With reference to the pressure belts, consider the following statements. Along the low pressure belts, air subsides and converge. Absolutely wrong, because what I understand, along a low pressure belt, air rises and air converges. It is not subsidence, it is rising convection. So this statement is wrong. So wherever I have a low pressure, air normally rises, not subsides. Statement 2. In the high pressure belt, air is stable and dry. Correct. Any descending or subsiding air mass, you call them as stable. Any stable air mass is dry. So the statement 2 is correct. So what is the answer for it? When I talk about statement 2, which of the following is not correct? Right. Very carefully read it. They are not asking you correct, they are asking you not correct. It means not correct is 1 only. Right, sir. That is A. Question number 63. With reference to the water vapor in atmosphere, it means humidity. In atmosphere, consider the following statement. The water vapor increases the amount of insolation reaching the earth's surface. It is wrong because it do not increases, rather it decreases. It decreases. Water vapor preserves heat radiated from the earth. Yes, water vapor has a tendency to absorb heat. Latent heat will be stored in water vapor itself. So the statement 2 is right. So what is the statement? They are asking for the correct statement. So which of the following, which of the given above is or correct? So what should be the answer? Answer should be 2 only. That is B. Statement 64. Consider the following statement. These clouds, again, this is a very easy statement. Among the different types of cloud, you are going to identify which type of a cloud you are going to identify. Even if you know one particular factor about this cloud, you can identify this cloud. So what is this cloud? These clouds are black or very dark grey. Here itself I can say that this is nimbus. Right, sir. This is nimbus. Nimbus are very dark clouds. And again, it says they form a mid-levels or they form at mid-levels very near to the surface. Sorry, excuse me. They form at middle levels or very near to the surface. It means they are low altitudinal clouds. These are extremely dense and opaque to rays of sun. What is this opaque? Sun's rays cannot ordinarily penetrate or insolation cannot penetrate these clouds. Nimbus clouds. Very directly, nimbus clouds. I have two types of nimbus clouds. One you call them as a cumulonimbus clouds and two you call them as a nimbostratus cloud. So two types of nimbus clouds we have. Direct question. And coming to the last question in geography, question number 65. With reference to Coriolis force, consider the following statement. The northeastern trade wind are deflected towards the left by the Coriolis force. Very tricky statement. When I talk about northeastern trade, which hemisphere they are talking about? They are talking about northeastern trade means trade wind of the northern hemisphere, you call them as a northeastern trade. And in northern hemisphere, what is the effect of Coriolis force? The deflection is towards the right and not to the left. So what is this? The statement is wrong. Right. Statement 2. Coriolis force is inversely proportionate to the angle of latitude. Again, the statement is wrong because Coriolis force increases with the latitude. Coriolis force is directly proportionate. It is not inversely proportionate, it is directly proportionate. Absent at equator, maximum at poles. So both the statement here given are wrong. So what should be the option? Option should be neither one nor two. So with this we are just concluding this geography question discussion and moving on to this current affairs discussion, sir. Question number 66. So when I talk about, consider the following statement regarding the Bhashya Sangam. Bhashya Sangam. It means almost the Sangam of languages initiative. It says the Bhashya Sangam is an initiative under Ek Bharat, Shrestha Bharat. It means a quality Bharat. Right, sir? Of course, yes, this is perfectly right. This is an initiative which comes under this Ek Bharat, Shrestha Bharat. Right, sir? It aims to familiarize every child with all 22 languages under Schedule 8 of the Constitution through simple dialogues. This is one ambitious program where, see, children will not be learning this program, learning this 22 languages, but they'll get exposed to this 22 languages, so that almost that intercultural faith they'll be almost developing it, right, sir? So they'll have almost probability of understanding the cultural aspect of other languages also. So both the statements are correct. So answer is both 1 and 2. Option is C, sir. Question number 67, direct question. Which among the following selects the director of CBI? So when I talk about the selection or selection board of CBI director, who all presides in this selection board? Very direct question. Committee comprising of Prime Minister, Chief Justice of India and Leader of Opposition. Direct question. Answer is D, sir. Question number 68. Consider the following statement with respect to the Central Bureau of Investigation. Statement 1 says, states can bar Central Bureau of Investigation from functioning in their territory. This is obviously right, because policing is a state subject, right? It means primary rights lies with the state police. And not only that, when I talk about states like Andhra Pradesh, when I talk about states like West Bengal, they have barred almost CBI inquiring certain cases in their territory, right, sir? So it means statement 1 is completely right. When I talk about statement 2, CBI can suo motu take up investigation of any crime anywhere in the country. Now, here comes anywhere in the country is a question mark. So understanding says, anywhere CBI cannot almost go for a suo motu initiative. Only in the union territory they can take suo motu cases, but in the states they cannot have, means they cannot go for a suo motu initiatives. If that is the case, statement 2 is wrong. So what is the correct statement? It is 1 only, that is A is the answer. Coming to question number 69, sir. Consider the following statement regarding this Sakhi one-stop center, sir. Now, when I talk about the Sakhi one-stop centers, it aims at providing integrated services for women affected by violence in both the public and private spaces. Perfectly right. No denial about it. This is obviously right. Now, coming to statement 2. All women above age of 18 affected by violence, irrespective of caste or religion, can approach the Sakhi one-stop center. This is the place where you have to cautiously look for, because it is not for the women only above 18 years, even for the girls below 18 years are also included in this Sakhi one-stop center. It means statement 2 is not complete, statement 2 is wrong, right, sir? Now, what should be my answer? My answer should contain 1 but should not contain 2. Here itself I can go to the option. The option says it is 1 and 3, right, sir? And of course, going by the third statement, it says it is funded from Nirbhaya Fund, right, sir? Question number 17. When talk about question number 70, it says SWIFT India is a joint venture of Indian public and private sector banks with SWIFT, right, sir? Now, when I talk about SWIFT, what is this SWIFT? Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication is what the acronym, what it stands for, SWIFT, sir, right? So it's a kind of, it means it's a society for worldwide interbank financial telecommunications. It is not the fund transfer as such, it is just facilitates the communication between the banks, right, sir? Now, if that is the case, statement 1 is right. What is the statement 2? SWIFT facilitates fund transfer between domestic and its branches abroad. This statement is wrong, because SWIFT facilitates only the communication or messaging services between the banks of different banks, right, sir? It do not facilitates fund transfer as such, right, sir? Acronym itself says it is nothing but financial telecommunications, right, not the fund transfer as such. So the statement 2 is wrong. So which of the following statement is correct? It is one only, that is A, sir. Question number 71. Which of the following is or true regarding the government e-marketplace? See here, this is one centralized place where any procurement for the PSUs, a central government organization or department should go for. Right, sir. Now, statement 1 says, government e-marketplace facilitates online procurement of common use goods and service required by various government departments, organization or PSUs. Obviously, this is right. And it also says it is mandatory for the government department, organization, etc. to procure goods from government e-marketplace. This is also right because it almost encourages openness. Right, sir. It encourages openness. And one more thing, not only openness, it almost results in swift decision making. Right, sir. So both the statements are perfectly right. So what can be the answer for it? Select the correct answer. It is both 1 and 2. Option is C, sir. Question number 72. Direct question. COP India 2018, recently seen in news, is a joint exercise. It is a joint air exercise that exists between, at least that has happened between India and USA, sir. India and USA. Very recently, we had this exercise conducted in West Bengal, sir. Right, sir. So answer is D. Question number 73. Consider the following statement regarding RISE. Here itself they have given what is RISE? Regulator or regulatory indicator for sustainable energy. It says RISE is a policy scorecard which grades the Asian countries based on energy access, energy efficiency and renewable energy. Only thing is that it's a short-sighted statement. It is not the Asian countries, it is all the countries of the world. So it means completely global in nature. So it is an initiative of China in the wake of environmental problems, and certainly anybody who sees this statement itself can say that that statement is wrong, because China taking initiative in environment, this itself I can say it is wrong. Right, sir. So it is not the initiative taken by China, it is the initiative taken by World Bank, sir. So this statement 2 is also wrong. So what is the correct statement? It is neither 1 nor 2. Question number 74. Consider the following statement regarding Prime Minister's Employment Generation Program. It's a credit-linked subsidy program aimed at generating self-employment opportunities only in non-farm sector. Yes, the statement is right. When I talk about 74, the statement is right. When I talk about the statement, second statement, under the scheme, the beneficiary should possess at least a diploma in their chosen field of study. It is not diploma, it is class 8, sir. So if a person has qualified this class 8, is eligible for this almost this Prime Minister's Employment Generation Program. So what is the correct answer? 1 should be right and 2 should not be there. Answer is A, that is 1 only, sir. Question number 75. Which of the following species is or listed as critically endangered under this IUCN Red List? So when I talk about IUCN Red List, International Union for Conservation of Nature, right, they have a book called as Red Book, and the list of all that red data, right, it's a red data book, and almost they have different classification of the species, which is almost, classified, right, completely they have different categories like critically endangered, vulnerable, right, endangered, extinct in wild, extinct, completely different character, means at least classification is there. So when I talk about the critically endangered species, it means if not taken seriously, these species may extinct in the near future, sir. You call them as a critically endangered. So among the following, which are the one which is critically endangered? They say Asiatic lion. No, Asiatic lion is not critically endangered, they are just endangered. But when I talk about the rest of the two, that is albino orangutan and great Indian bustard, both are critically endangered. So when I talk about albino orangutan, this is the one which is almost confined to Indonesia now, sir. And when I talk about great Indian bustard, as the name itself suggests, right, this is that endangered or critically endangered bird, what almost it is a natural habitat is India itself. So what is the answer for it? It is 2 and 3. So answer is B, sir. Question number 76. Consider the following statement regarding National Tiger Conservation Authority. It aims to address livelihood interest of local people in the areas surrounding tiger reserves. Yes, it is not only talking about the interest of tigers, it also talks about the tribal rights. right? Particularly the habitant of that region, right, who are almost there in the tiger reserves, right, sir. Statement 2, it is chaired by Prime Minister. This statement is wrong because it is chaired by the Minister of Environment and Forest, right, sir. So what is the right answer? It is one only, that is A. Question number 77. Consider the following statement with respect to or with statement about GSAT 7A. It says it is India's first geostationary communication satellite. The statement is completely wrong because this is not first, this is the 35th such satellite what we have. See, 1 or 2 I may not remember, but 35 in numbers, right? Completely wrong. Here itself you got the right answer. If you remove 1, I have only one choice. What can be the potential answer? Answer should be C, right, sir? Otherwise, still if you want to read it, factual information, 2 and 3 is a correct statement, sir. So removing 1 directly, we are coming to the right answer. 78. Which of the following is not the feature of graphene? Seen sometimes in news very recently. What is a graphene? Graphene is an allotrope of carbon, no denial about it. It is non-transparent and an excellent insulator. Put it very simple. Graphene is not an excellent insulator, rather it is an excellent conductor, sir. It is a conductor of electricity, right, sir? If that is a statement directly I can come across which is not a feature here itself. This is not the feature because it is a good conductor. They say it is an excellent insulator. This statement is wrong, right, sir? Moving beyond, question number 79. Yellow vest, recently seen in news, is associated with the protest in which of the following countries? It is France. See, France, very recently they have almost brought in this green tax in diesels. So almost all those people who almost travel from rural area for their job, right, in order to almost travel, their traveling expense has increased exponentially. In order to protest that increasing fuel price, right, in France, the movement slowly, steadily became popular. This movement which opposes the fuel rise in France and the green tax which is imposed on diesel in France, this movement you call them as yellow vest, right, sir? So direct question, simple question, answer is France. So question number 80, sir. Coming to the next question, question number 80. Consider the following statement regarding Pratham Mantri Swasthya Suraksha Yojana. It is an initiative under Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. This itself is wrong because we will understand what exactly is this program. It aims to reduce mortality rate caused due to air pollution in the country. This is also wrong. See, what is this program? Pratham Mantri Swasthya Suraksha Yojana. This is a program which tries to bring AIIMS-like institution, or right, it means almost when I talk about upgrading the government college to the next level in almost all the states, right, sir? Bringing up premier government colleges associated with the government hospital is the objective of this program. It means it is not comes under the initiative of Ministry of Environment. It comes under the means almost Ministry of right, Health and Family Welfare, sir. Right, it comes under the Ministry of Health. Right, this statement is wrong. And number one, it aims to reduce mortality. No, it aims to almost bring more AIIMS-like institution in all the state. It means both the statement is wrong. So what are the right statement we have? Neither it is 1 nor it is 2. Question number 81. Direct question which was there in news. India's longest rail bridge or railroad bridge which was recently inaugurated is located in which of the state? It is in Assam, sir. Right. What we call as Bogibeel or Bogibeel. Right. Very recently it was constructed across Brahmaputra river, where this is an integrated bridge where you have both rail and road connectivity. Question number 82. With reference to Central Zoo Authority, consider the following statement. It is a statutory body constituted under Biological Diversity Act of 2002. The statement says it is wrong because it is constituted under this Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, sir. Right, sir. So this statement 1 is wrong. Statement 2 says both government and private sector can operate zoos in India. Yes, right. Only thing is that operators, private operators, they are regulated, highly they are regulated. Right, sir. But understanding says both private and government can operate zoos. Statement 2 is right, sir. So what is the correct statement? It is B. That is 2 only. Question number 83. With respect to angel investors, consider the following statements. Angel investor focus on helping startups take their first steps rather than possible profit they may get from the business. Yes, name itself says angel investor. Like an angel, they come, they invest in your business, right? So most of the time, startups, you may find some angel investor or some very small business where the movement of the business or the running of the business itself becomes very difficult. Angel investor comes, they invest, right, sir? So statement 1 is obviously right. Statement 2 says they are regulated by RBI. This is wrong because they are not regulated by RBI, they are regulated by SEBI, sir. Right, sir. So what is the correct statement? Statement 1 only is the correct statement. Question number 84. Which of the following statement is correct regarding IMPRESS scheme? Now, what is this IMPRESS scheme? When I talk about IMPRESS scheme itself is an acronym which stands for Impactful Policy Research in Social Sciences. This gives you a clue. If you remember what exactly is the acronym, it says impactful. When I talk about impactful policy research in social science, right? So with this acronym, you may identify that what can be the best description what you can have for this scheme called as IMPRESS. Right, so it says it aims to promote researchers in social sciences in higher educational institutions. There itself you got the answer. Right, sir. There itself you got the answer. The answer is A, sir. Moving on to the next question, 85. Again, a very easy question. If you are there in Asia, they ask you which are the countries through which or which country. Only one country you have to take it. Among the 4, you go for the best. According to your knowledge, through which country Tropic of Cancer passes through. See, one thing you know, there are 8 states in India through which Tropic of Cancer passes through. Almost from Gujarat, if I am just traveling, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, almost Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Tripura and Mizoram. I am just almost traveling along this Tropic of Cancer. Here itself, when I talk about Tripura and Mizoram, you almost encounter it, you stretch it, which country you are entering, the country of Myanmar. Very direct question. If I can almost remember Tripura and Mizoram, this question becomes very easy for me. Right, sir. So Myanmar is the direct question, sir. Question number 86. Which of the following separates Europe from Asia? And here again, you come across a situation where all these words are integrated using this word called as and. What is the significance of this and? Both should be correct. Right. Having this in mind, it means both should separate Asia from Europe. When I talk about Caspian Sea, yes, Caspian Sea separates, but it is not Mediterranean Sea. So wherever Mediterranean Sea comes in, I am just removing, sir. So A cannot be the answer, B cannot be the answer because I have Mediterranean Sea. Because Mediterranean Sea do not separate Asia and Europe, it separates Europe and Africa. Right, sir. And similarly, when I can remove this option D because I have Rocky. Because where is Rocky? Rocky is there in USA, sir. So what is the best option? Caspian Sea and Ural Mountains. So when I talk about Ural Mountains, one side is in Asian part of Russia, another side it is European part of Russia, Ural Mountains. Apart from that, I also have a Caspian Sea. One side I have Europe, one side I have Asia. Right, sir. So best option for this is C, sir. Question number 67. Consider the following statement. River Rhine flows through 10 countries in Europe. This statement is wrong. This is not River Rhine. That river which flows through 10 countries is this river called as Danube. Danube is the river which flows through 10 countries. River Rhine hardly flows through France and Germany, sir. Right. Now this statement is wrong. Statement 2. Bosporus Strait separates the Sea of Marmara and Black Sea. Yes, the statement is obviously right. Right, sir. So when I talk about from Black Sea, if you almost follow a very narrow channel, right, sir, you have this sea called as Sea of Marmara, and Sea of Marmara eventually leads to Mediterranean Sea. And this Bosporus Strait is the one which separates both part of Turkey, sir. Right, sir. So this statement 2 is obviously right. So what is the correct answer? It is 2 only. That is B is the option. Question number 88. Which of the following seas surrounds Greece? Surrounds Greece. This is a tricky question, a kind of a difficult question we have. Now, one thing you keep it, among this you should be very sure that which sea do not have a border with Greece. So, one thing I know, Black Sea do not have a border with Greece. If that is the case, try eliminating wherever you find Black Sea. D cannot be my option, C cannot be my option, right? If you're taking a very close look, right, both side, one side I have Mediterranean Sea almost forming a border and Aegean Sea having a coastline with Greece. So, answer is B. So, it's a factual question. Coming to question number 89. Which of the following countries borders Macedonia? This is very recently, it is there in news. So, when I talk about bordering countries of Macedonia, Bulgaria also has a border with Macedonia. Albania also has a border with Macedonia. Serbia also has a border with Macedonia. Apart from that, Kosovo also has, Greece also has. So, from this, when I talk about the option, the best option is all of the above. Option is D. Question number 90. Consider the following statement. Consider the following statement. G7 are the 7 major advanced economies that share among themselves more than 62% of global wealth. Right, sir? Option is yes. G7 countries, they are major economies, right? They hold majority of the global wealth. Option is yes. And they say the recent G7 summit 2018 was held in France. Here also, when I talk about the statement, yes, the very recent statement, when I talk about G7 statement, it was held in France. And when I talk about the third statement, European Union is not a sovereign member state in G7 countries, right? It is not a sovereign member because when I talk about European Union, it's a supranational body which is a member with this G7. Sir. Now, when I talk about G7, G7 itself is a group of 7 nations. What are the 7 nations? I have Canada, USA, Italy, Germany, France, United Kingdom and Japan. The only Asian country what we have is Japan. So, these 7 countries put together, you call them as a G7. Earlier it was called as a G8. Russia came in from G7, Russia made it as a G8 and Russia when went out, again it has become G7. Right, sir? So, the statement here, all 3 statements are correct. Question number 91, sir. With reference to this G20, consider the following statement. So, when I talk about G20, G20 is a forum of economic, financial, political cooperation. Yes, all G7 members are members of G20. This fact is also right. This is the first time Japan has assumed G20 presidency. This is also right. Right. We had this almost meeting in Osaka in Japan, right, where Japan has almost assumed the presidency. Right. It means the statement answer to this question is all the above, sir. It means 1, 2 and 3. That is option D. Question number 92. Consider the following statement. Non-aligned movement, NAM, what is very popularly called as NAM, is a group of states that are not formally aligned with or against any major power bloc. Understanding says, right, we had almost bipolar world order, right, very powerful USSR and very powerful USA. Any nation which almost maintained the neutrality, right, all those countries which has maintained a neutrality and the group of countries, we started calling this as a NAM, sir. Obviously, this is right. Almost they don't align with any major blocks of the world. Right, sir. Now, founding fathers of NAM were from India, Czechoslovakia, Egypt, Ghana and Philippines. Yes, sir. Jawaharlal Nehru played a very vital role in almost forming this NAM as an organization, sir. So, both the statement is right. Right, sir. So, what is the correct statement? It should be both 1 and 2. Question number 93. With reference to G15, consider the following statement. Group of 15. It's a 15 members that was established. It is the 15 members, sorry, the group of 15 members that was established at 6th NAM summit meeting that has taken place in Havana, sir. That has taken place in Havana. Right, so this is what the statement 1 says. But understanding says it has not taken place in Havana, it has taken place in Belgrade, Czechoslovakia. It means this statement 1 is wrong. The second statement says group aims to encourage cooperation among developing countries in the area of investment, trade and technology. This statement is correct, sir. Statement 2 is correct. And what is the question? Question is asking for incorrect statement or not correct statement. So what is the incorrect statement we have? The incorrect statement is A, that is one only. Question number 94. Which of the following countries are the members of G7? Just now we have discussed. Right, Russia is not the member because Russia has went out of G7. Right, sir. USA is a member. China is not a member. Japan is a member. So what should be the answer? Answer should be 2 and 4. Answer should be C, sir. Right, direct question. Consider the following statement regarding the Animal Welfare Board of India. Animal Welfare Board of India is a statutory body with its headquarters in Chennai. This statement is wrong because I understand the headquarters, it is not there in Chennai. The headquarters is there in Haryana, sir. Right, it is there in Haryana. Right, sir. There is a place called as Ballagar. Ballagar is the place where you have the headquarters of this Animal Welfare Board of India. It is started by late Rukmani, it means Srimati Rukmani Devi Arundel, a well-named humanitarian, sir. This is statement 2. This statement 2 is correct. Right, when I talk about the option, it goes for selecting the right statement. Answer is 2 only. B is the option. Question number 96. Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change is the nodal agency for implementing which of the following programs in India? Right, sir. 96. They are given you series of programs. They are asking you what are the programs that is implemented by Ministry of Environment and Forest. Environment and Forest policies, yes. Right. United Nations Environment Program, UNEP, yes. Global Environmental Facility, yes. Answer is all the above. All the above, the nodal implementing authorities, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Now, coming to question number 97. Consider the following statement. International Convention and provisions. You have to almost go for the correctly matched statement. Basel Convention, Stockholm Convention and Rotterdam Conventions. See, when I talk about Basel Convention, no doubt it is control of transboundary movement of hazardous waste. But when I talk about Stockholm Convention, right, and Rotterdam Convention, completely it is almost interchanged, sir. So only one pair is matched rightly here, that is Basel Convention. The answer to this will be one only, that is A. Question number 98. With reference to this Global Environment Facility, which of the following statement is correct? It serves as the financial mechanism for the conservation, for the Convention on Biological Diversity and the Minamata Convention on, right, Mercury. So when I talk about 98, when I talk about the statement 1, it is obviously right because it serves as the financial mechanism. Number 2, it says it undertakes a scientific research on environmental issues at the global level. Just now we understood that it is a financial mechanism. It involves no scientific research. It just funds, it just aids. If that is the case, statement 2 is wrong. So select the correct answer. Select the correct answer is A. That is 1 only, sir. Question number 99. Consider the following statement. The National Adaptation Fund for Climate Change is implemented by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. So when I talk about this statement, statement 1, and you are talking about this statement which is correct. So when I talk about 99, right, sir. So it is not implemented by the Environment Ministry, it is implemented by NABARD, sir. Right. So statement 1 is wrong. When I talk about statement 2, the aim of National Adaptation Fund for Climate Change is to support concrete adaptation activities which mitigate the adverse effect of climate change. This is perfectly right. So option answer for this is 2 only, that is B, sir. Coming to the final question. Consider the following statement. The Indian Antarctic Program is a multi-institutional program under Ministry of Earth Science. This option is obviously perfectly right. Statement 2 says Maitri is the first Indian scientific research based station located in Antarctica. This statement is wrong because before Maitri came only in the year of 1988 approximately it came in, but before Maitri, right, the first scientific research base which came in Antarctic was Dakshin Gangotri. So only after Dakshin Gangotri Maitri came in. So after Maitri we have another site which has come in, it is called as Bharati. Right, so Maitri is not the first site. India totally has 3 scientific bases in Antarctic. Maitri is the second in line. So what is the option? Right, select the correct answer. It is A only. Right, sir. So with this we are just concluding all this 100 questions in today's question paper. Right, most of the time what we understand while solving this question paper, knowledge is important, no denial about it, but more than knowledge we have to implement some techniques in it. How exactly we are searching for these techniques, that's the reason again I am just repeating these words. Look for absolute words, look for relative words, look for qualitative words, look for operative words. And whenever positive statements and negative statements comes in, that also you take it seriously. Right, sir. So with very hard work, a great hard work, another 4 months is remaining for us. Very sincerely, if we are preparing for this 4 months, somewhere around 120 plus days, still I can say, right, very serious preparation can fetch you a service without any difficulties. I wish you all the best with all the motivations what you have. You have a serious preparation, and please do remember, right, this service will only favors the brave and hard work. So be brave, be a hardworking student. I wish you all the best and thank you.